So today I thought we could talk about cost-effective ways to clean bones and prepare them and things like that for use within your craft. So this is a fox skull, and I've only got the top half of the skull. Where the bottom half is, no idea. But that is the price of ethically sourcing things, is that a lot of the times they don't come in ideal, or like not even ideal, that's the wrong word, like not in fresh from source structure. So a lot of the times they will be missing teeth, or they will be missing bones, or they will be cracked and shattered and in certain aspects. But to me, that's just the beauty of decomposition. So if you find your bones and they're still quite juicy, obviously check with the spirit of the animal if they're native and you're not indigenous. I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but at least in Australia, First Nations people are allowed to collect native creatures that have passed on. However, if you aren't First Nations, you do require a license before you can harvest. So making sure that you're following your area's laws and regulations. Non-native animals like foxes, they're fine. What I would be doing is, if it comes juicy and you're allowed to work with it, so use your intuition. Literally ask the animal. Use your intuition to be like, is it okay if I use you? I want to use you for X, Y, and Z. If you don't trust your intuition, work on that. You can also pull cards and things like that. Even use the natures of oracles. So if I hear a whip bird within the next 10 seconds, I'm taking that as a yes. If I hear a crow within the next 10 seconds, I'm taking that as a no. If you don't know what a whip bird sounds like, they're the ones that sound like little lasers. They're like, we have them heaps around this area, and I fucking love them. Their call makes something in my brain like so happy. Back to this point of this video. If you forage it and it is still juicy, and take it home, bury it in a safe place under the soil, or leave it on top of the soil. If it's a larger creature, I'm happy to leave it on top of the soil. If it's a smaller creature, I will bury it, and that is because it is more likely to get damaged from just the elements, from other animals. It's also more likely to get like nicked from other animals if it's on top of the soil. But in that same breath, it's kind of just like, meh, they needed it more than me, clearly, so that's the peace that we make with it. But yes, on top of the soil, it will decompose faster, but more likely to get damaged or stolen. I say stolen, that's not the right word. More likely to get utilized by other creatures and animals and things like that, and damaged by the elements. If you bury it, less likely to get moved, but the decomposition timing is a lot longer. Top of the soil, if it's really juicy, looking at like 3 months, whereas buried you'd be looking at like 6 months. The reason why I say to do it that way is because you're dealing with a lot less mess, and two, the earth is taking back elements that she requires. So I think it's a lot more of an ethical practice to make sure that the earth gets a chance to feed on what you don't want. Does that make sense? So she still does have a little bit of skin left on her, and because of the timing, it is quite firm. It's not going to come off, and that's okay. So what we do in that instance is we dunk her in water, and this is going to be part of the cleaning process. You place it in a bowl full of water, leave it for 2 to 3 days. If you put it in the sun, you will start the bleaching process of the bones as well. I don't like to use hardly any chemicals on my bones. I like the water and sunlight process. The reason why I'm doing just water with her is because, for the most part, nature did the job and she's clean. I'm sure that there's people out there that are going to be like, but leaving it in water will degrade the bones and blah blah blah, you should use hydrogen peroxide and blah blah blah. And like, that's amazing, go off sis. Me personally, I like to retain the energy of the animal much as possible, and that is why I tend to opt for a more natural route. However, when it comes to greasier animals, so deer, rabbits, that type of thing, the bones retain so much grease. Just water is going to take a fucking long time. And that is when I would head into using something like this. Remember, we're focusing on cost effective here. If you can get your hands on hydrogen peroxide, amazing, do that. However, hydrogen peroxide in the quantity that is required to mix up the ratios correctly. It's something like 3 parts water to 2 parts hydrogen peroxide off the top of my head. That's a lot of hydrogen peroxide for the amount of, like, especially if you're working with larger specimens. That is a lot of money going into something. That's not really something that's accessible to many of us. So this is a bioactive enzyme washing liquid. So think Biozet and think Cold Power. They both have active bioenzymes in them that will actively degrease. So you would mix up, like, I have 50 mils here. So it'd be like 50 mils to this being filled. It's a really nice way to degrease bones in a larger scale for less money. Disposing of that type of liquid, you would want to pour it in like your yard in the back corner, away from like a lot of plants, away from like the animals and things like that. For the most part, water is going to do a lot for you. It really is amazing. The water and the sun will do wonders. When it comes to gamier things, use this. This will also act as a slight bleaching agent as well. So in that instance of that, I would want to be checking it every 24 hours. So you want to be making sure that you're not getting to the point where the bones start getting almost like a dusty feeling on them. Do 24 hours, check it, rinse it off thoroughly, try again if you feel like you want to. The whole point is that you're just wanting to remove grease, and it will literally create this grease layer on top. The reason why we do want to remove the grease is because over time the grease will actually make the bones more brittle and fragile. So I will come back in a few days and I'll show you how the fox head's going. But yeah, I hope this helps. Just remember to be safe, ask permission, and nature literally has everything that you need to be able to do this. So also stay away from bleach. Bleach will weaken the bones. Anyway, I hope this helps. Bye! Also, just a quick ad. I've got glitter all over me, okay? Mardi Gras. It's all about respect when it comes to bones. If you get a no from your intuition, from nature's oracles, all of that type of stuff, that means a no, okay? It doesn't mean a no forever. It just means with that particular animal, it's a no. And that's okay. It has the autonomy to be able to decide what it wants to do with its afterlife. It is part of our duty to respect that. If it wants to spend its afterlife giving back to nature, fucking fantastic. Let it. I hope to have the same autonomy in my death as well, such as that. So it's all about respect. It means a no for now, but you may come across another animal where you don't get a no. And if you get a series of no's, or it just feels like you're getting no after no, I would look at how you are giving back to nature. Are you someone that's picking up rubbish regularly if you come across it in your path? Are you someone that's giving back to community and advocating for First Nations and for nature conservation and things like that? Are you having an active role in that type of thing? Are you someone that is showing up to a particular area all the time, and no matter whether it's rain, hail or shine, and wanting to just sit in meditation and feel the energy of that space and discover its cycles of nature as you show up in the own cycles of nature of your life? All of these things help build right relationship with nature, and it's really important to have that down pat first before you require or ask of nature for anything in the first place. Being sustainable in your day-to-day life, so making sure that you do utilize the recycling bin for recycling and the rubbish bin for rubbish. Having a compost garden, all of that type of stuff is really beneficial in you proving to nature that you aren't just here for collection and taking things, that you are someone that's here to build consistent and right relationship. All of that is like your resume, so to say, to be able to apply for the job of what it means to have a creature that you can work with in your personal craft or have in your personal collection. I hope this is making sense. If you have any questions though, drop them down below. I'm happy to answer. And if I can't answer them, I'm happy to do research or pass you on to someone that is much more knowledgeable than me. But anyway, bye!